What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, the PlayStation shenanigans continue. And you wonder why I say PlayStation's whack, PlayStation's bad for business, PlayStation's bad for the industry more so than like business itself, because that's subjective. But Sony got caught trying to buy another exclusive, trying to keep another game off of Xbox, their main competition. Seems like they're afraid or something, because if Sony was so powerful, is so, leading the, market leader, as they say, then they wouldn't have to do these things, right? They wouldn't have to buy exclusivity. They wouldn't have to rig the game so that they can win, right? Well, it seems like these devs and these publishers out here are they're getting wise. They're getting wise to what Sony has been doing for years. And, at first it was Square Enix. They were like, we ain't making no money with y'all. Sorry, that little money you gave us up front, that's not enough. We need to make more, and nobody's buying it on your console. So, it's like they give them a little bit of change, and it's like it's not enough. And so the people at I forgot what the dev team is called, but it's Crimson Desert. Yeah, Crimson Desert, that's the game. It's a single player, kind of like The Witcher, inspired by The Witcher and all these other games and stuff, except it's a South Korean company. And I was like, all right, cool. And I saw some gameplay footage, and they showed it like a while back, and they showed some recent stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'll check that out, whatever. And I've been hearing a lot of people, well, a couple, Dirt mainly, saying, yo, I appreciate these dudes, this developer, not taking the bait, not taking the deal that Sony, okay, so the deal was, I didn't even say it, Sony was trying to buy exclusivity of this game for a certain amount of time. They didn't specify, for it not to be on Xbox, so, paid exclusivity. And, it's something that Microsoft does too, but Sony has been more egregious in this practice, and it seems like they're doing it wrong, if that makes any sense. Like it's okay when they did I think was it Stellar Blade, or I forgot what game it was, where they helped with, like, oh, we're having it was Street Fighter 5 really, where they were like, oh, Street Fighter 5's in trouble, we need money, and then Sony came in and helped with the production costs, and so I'm like, all right, well, you know what, sure. I mean, still not gonna sell as many as you would have if you went multi-plat, but sure. When I say multi-plat, I mean multi-console plat, not PC and Xbox and console. So Sony got caught again trying to keep another game off of Xbox, and the dev said, nope, we feel that we will self-publish and we gonna make more money that way. It was like, it was a slap in the face to Sony, and a W for Xbox and all gamers specifically, or generally, because what they're saying basically is like, yeah, you're the market leader, but I'm looking over at Final Fantasy, I'm looking over at Hellblade, I'm looking at these bigger games than us, and they're not. No, we need to move more than 1 million units. That's what we talking about. Because we did Black Desert, and everybody played that game. And so now, if we just go with you, because they already tasted it. They already know what it's up. When they get multi-platform, when they get that multi-platform revenue, they get the multi-platform audience, they already know Black Desert was everywhere. And if to go from everywhere to just PlayStation, that'd be asinine. This is the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing that they could have done, and they did the smartest thing they could have done. And now, because of that, they're going to sell way more units than they would have otherwise. It's starting to rain. Está lloviendo. And so, I don't know, my windows are slow. And so, sorry about the click clack. I have a actuator that's broken. Anyway, so them doing that, like I say, it's a slap in the face to Sony, because it's saying the dev is literally telling them that's not enough money. You're not giving us enough money. That's not a good deal. And another thing that it's doing, it's leading an example. It's showing an example to all these other devs, whether small or big, plus all of the other failed attempts to doing this type of business deal with Sony. You know, like I said, Stellar Blade and whatchamacallit. And Stellar Blade, I think it was the same publisher, right? That did that one and Crimson Sea. I'm not sure about that, but I think maybe. But anyway, Final Fantasy Rebirth. They see the outcome. And they're like, yeah, no. You know. And so for future devs looking at, and Sony comes to them like, yo, blah, 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 blah. I mean, if they're like first game and all that stuff, maybe they'll take the deal. But if they see what's going on, they see what Black Desert did, they see what Crimson Sea, what they're doing with Crimson Sea, they see what Final Fantasy and Stellar Blade did, and they're like, yo, do we want to make all the money, or do we want to, you know, they're looking at Capcom, what they're doing now. What are we doing? Why would we just go, you know? The perception that Sony is the market leader is slowly turning into something else. It's like, doesn't matter, because you're not selling games on your market leader console. You got 60 million, you only sell 1 million. The math ain't mathing. You know, if you're an accountant at one of these publishers and you're looking at the numbers and like, wait, they only sold 1 million? Why did they only sell 1 million on PlayStation? What's wrong with it? You know? And especially Final Fantasy, that's supposed to be the best RPG in the whole entire world. They only sell like, what, 2 million or something? That's ridiculous. They should have sold at least 15, 20, right? It should have been the best selling RPG ever. But it's not. Because, like I said before, man, there's some dirty work going over a PlayStation. Them numbers ain't numbering. They say half the people are on, I still think it's 50 something. It was 49 million like 6 months ago. So I still think it's like, I'm going to give them one, I'd say it's 50 million. But even with that amount, they still should have sold more than 2 million. 1 million here, 2 million there. And that's the thing. It goes back to who actually bought a PS5. Casuals who don't play Final Fantasy. Because Final Fantasy is not a casual game. Final Fantasy is an old school gamer game. It's an old school person who played it on the PlayStation or even played it before that on Nintendo. Super Nintendo. I'm just gonna buy a Nintendo. I like how Derek does it. It's so stupid. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, so people aren't buying these games on PlayStation, right? This is a trend that we're seeing. They're only buying those big giant blockbuster games, mainly Spider-Man. And I said it before, I'm gonna say it again, I'm gonna say it right now. Wolverine will not sell as good as Spider-Man because it has to be mature, and a lot of kids bought a lot of kids didn't buy, but parents bought it for their kids. Parents aren't gonna buy Wolverine, mature rated, him slicing people's stuff off or faces off. They're not gonna buy that for their 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old. They're not gonna do that. That's not gonna, so already that audience is smaller than it would have been as opposed to a Spider-Man, right? That alone it's not gonna sell as many. Plus, I don't think it's gonna be as good as the game because traversal. You look at Wolverine, what he's gonna jump, lunge at trees and stick and go and climb with his claws. That's goofy. That's not. Spider-Man is more acrobatic. Does flips. I think Spider-Man is stronger than Wolverine. Yeah, because Wolverine just has the healing factor. I mean, it does make him stronger. Let's not be real. But he ain't strong. Spider-Man is pretty strong. Anyway, we ain't talking about comic books. We talking about how Sony got caught trying to be devious, trying to be thievious, trying to be PlayStation, trying to be, I mean, they're just evil. It's not they ain't trying to be, they are evil. They trying to get over it again. And I'm glad this time it was the dev that said, smack, get out of here. Get me smack. We trying to make money over here. We don't want your welfare check. Get that out of here with your 1 million sales. Look, here's the thing. I'm going to buy the game on principle because they said nope to Sony. We going to make our money. You know what? Respect. I'm buying the game. I just bought Hogwarts Legacy. I think it was last night. It was like on sale. I was like, oh, they're having a sale. It was like 79% or something. It was like $23. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play it, but I was like, maybe I feel like Harry Potter in it one today and, whatever. We'll see. But, it's like Crimson Desert. I remember Crimson Sea, I think it was called. It was one of those Dynasty Warriors. It's maybe the same publisher, studio. It was a Dynasty Warriors clone. And Crimson Desert is not the same game, obviously. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's an RPG. Open world. Kind of like The Witcher. We'll see. We'll play it. We'll see. I mean, I'll say one thing about Black Desert. Graphics was dope. I mean, for the time when it came out. And like the lady model, I was like, let's go. She was thick in the right place and everything. Did you make your own? I'm trying to remember if you made your own model on that. I can't remember. But anyway, point is, they get props. Pearl Abyss, that's the name of it. I was like, I think that's it, right? Pearl Abyss. I think that's the name of the dev/publisher or whatever. But anyway, they get props for standing up to the big bad Sony and saying, no, get out of here with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, this is an example for other devs to see. And it's like a case study, basically. It's like, okay, they said no to that deal, that deal that everybody's been taking. Let's see how they do. If they sell like 5 million units, I mean, the game has to be good, obviously. And I think it will be good because Black Desert was pretty dope. For MMO, and I'm not into MMOs. I'm not into MMOs. But I played it. I was like, oh, yeah, I can see. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like the animation, the attack, and all that stuff. And like that, like the feeling of the game was great. It wasn't it wasn't like World of Warcraft or anything. It was definitely cool. So yeah, this is gonna prove or not if this was a wise decision, and I think it will be a wise decision because people like Dirt and people like myself who respect these devs for doing it their way, and not trying to damage the industry by taking these slimy deals, as Phil says it. And it's true. And it's like a cascade. It's like a domino effect. It's like, oh snap, these dudes, like, they said no, and you know what I'm saying? Remember that rhetoric? Remember that narrative? Support the devs. Remember that? Remember the ponies and the donkey unicorns always said that? Like, oh, support the devs. Well, I'm gonna support the devs, and I'm gonna buy their game because I think it might be a good game too. So we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think about Sony trying to buy away some exclusives, trying to keep games off of Xbox. So evil. It just feels antithetical to trying to make a healthy video game industry. And a company like Sony should be positing or positioning themselves to do both. To make money and be a successful business, right? And also make sure that the business that they're in stays around for them to make more money in the future. They're not even looking at that. They're just like, they just want to be the dominant species or whatever, the dominant company, and then they don't understand the repercussions, the consequences and repercussions of them destroying the competition. They don't understand that, because if they do that, like say if they destroyed, I mean, it'll never happen. Say if they destroy Microsoft and Nintendo decides to just make playing cards and toys, go back to their roots, then it's just Sony, right? And what Sony will do is they're going to price themselves out of the market, and there won't be the same market anymore. And then guess what's going to happen? a new market will emerge, more family friendly, kind of like what Nintendo's doing, lesser hardware, more affordable, blah, 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 right? So whatever they do, Sony, whatever they do, PlayStation, as far as trying to just be the only ones, it won't work, because the whole concept of competition will always be there, and they can't destroy the competition because there's always going to be someone else to come along to take the place. Remember when Nintendo and Sega, right? Nintendo, Sega, NEC jumped in, TurboGrafx, NEC, yeah, we in it for the hot minute. They're gone, right? Then it was back to Nintendo, Sega, and PlayStation came in. What did PlayStation do? PlayStation knocked out Sega. In a way, as far as hardware, right? They knocked them out. Then what happened? Because PlayStation knocked out Sega, Xbox was born. Also, because Nintendo did Sony dirty on their deal, well, I mean, the deal was kind of whatever, but, ultimately it was Nintendo who changed the deal, who said no, basically. PlayStation was born. So it's not like I'm just blaming Sony all the way. I mean, it's just the nature of the business. So if Sony has their way and destroys all competition, someone will come back. Sega will be like, yo, Microsoft, can we borrow some money? Because we want to make consoles again. Microsoft will be like, yeah, go ahead. We don't want to do it anymore. But you know what? We like y'all. Y'all had us. You had our backs back in the OG. You gave us Jet Grind Radio. You gave us what is it? Sega GT. I had that combo disc. You gave us all them. You gave Sonic Event, Shenmue 2 on the OG. Let's go. Here you go. You know what I'm saying? And then, it'll be a new Sega versus Sony. And Sega has some IP. Y'all play. I mean, if you want to think about it, yes, Sony has some IP, but it's like when you think about video games, like games. I think Sega has more games than Sony does. Sony got a bunch of interactive movies. They stopped being games a while ago. Anyway, I'm rambling right now. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below about all the stuff I just rambled about. And I'll talk to y'all guys on the next one too. Wait.